What do we want?
Welfare, not warfare.
Cut it off and then put it back on again, lads.
Welfare, not warfare.
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 No more deaths from benefit cuts.
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 Who's streets?
Our streets.
Who's lives?
Our lives.
Who's futures?
Our futures.
I went on AJ. AJ, you coming down, yeah?
Sorry, sir.
It's a public road, mate. Yeah, go away. Go and catch some criminals.
Hello. No peace.
No cuts. No benefit cuts. No ifs. No buts. No benefit cuts. No ifs. No buts.
No benefit cuts.
No ifs. No buts.
No benefit cuts.
No ifs. No buts.
No benefit cuts. No benefit cuts.
Definitely. Definitely justice for Grenfell. Yeah.
Benefit cuts. No ifs. No buts. No benefit cuts. No ifs. No
peace.
Alright.
Be careful around here.
Yeah, I know.
No justice. No peace.
No peace.
Benefits are understaffed. What do we do? Benefits are understaffed. What do we do?
Stand up, my back.
When benefits are understaffed, what do we do?
Stand up.
Fight back.
Okay, everyone. This has been a fantastic show of resistance, and we're not done yet. Sorry, what? Okay, mate, you can give me a warning, but I've got a lot of friends with me, so be careful. Welfare, not warfare! Welfare, not warfare! Welfare, not warfare!
Welfare, no warfare.
Welfare, not warfare!
Welfare, no warfare.
Welfare, not warfare!
Welfare, no warfare.
Welfare, I think you're stopping the right to protest, yeah?
Welfare, no warfare.
Welfare, not warfare!
Welfare, no warfare.
We're on this side.
Welfare, no warfare. No more death from
I'm happy to talk to you.
No more death. No more death.
Stop at the moment. Okay, guys, please get on to us. Speak to us. Fine, we'll leave me alone.
You do understand?
It's off at the moment, so we've done what you've asked. So you can back off. Don't get me alone.
I'll talk to us in person.
Yeah, sorry. Excuse me.
As long as the amplifier equipment switch off, that's all we're
You
here.
don't get wrong.
Fine. As long as the amplifier equipment stays off, no problem. That's fine.
No more death from benefit.
Bye bye! Toodle pip! Clown!
No more deaths from benefit cuts. 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 No ifs, no buts, no 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 benefit cuts. Everyone move on to the left side.
need some refs now. It's going to happen.
What's going on here? What's this? Let me have a look. £49 an hour. Are you serious? Fuck's sake, excuse my language. You get that?
Yeah, I got that.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, 49p an hour.
That's carrying for two.
Two? That's caring for two people. That's wrong. Listen, I'm a carer for my girlfriend. I do it for free. I don't want anything for her.
Well, we have to eat it then.
That's ridiculous, man. That is.
I know, 49p an hour. And
So,
you
there
said
you go,
30.
guys. If that's true, 49p an hour.
That is ridiculous.
That is.
Everyone's supposed to live on that.
So I've had 3 hours of broken sleep. And I'll go back
What's on the
home.
back?
Someone else will come.
What's she saying, man?
I have no sleep again. And then at the same time, you're dealing with NHS customers.
Yeah.
Social workers, crazy.
And there's people out there trying to get carers and they can't even afford to pay carers.
That's wrong, isn't it? That's fucking wrong. I'm going over there, AJ. Over this lot.
plan.
Hi guys, we're going to start the speech. Fucking cut down.
They're turning the traffic around because AJ. All right, they're coming. Or them lot are coming down this way a bit more.
Yeah. Where's CP?
Hey,
Where's CP?
down there in with them all. They're turning the traffic around as well, but they can't turn the bus in.
Well, they're blocking the road.
The cops, yeah, they're right across the road. Right, cops haven't got a clue.
Is that better? Thank you ever so much for the invitation to speak today, and wow, what a turnout. But isn't it absolutely disgraceful that under a Labour Party government that we need to be here and we need to be making this noise and we need to be reminding them that we are here and we are not here to be have our benefits cut. We're not here to be attacked. They need to be taxing the rich, not us. The Bakers Food and Allied Workers Union put out a statement last week, so I'm literally just going to read that out, if you'll forgive me for doing so, because I think it's important and I think it sets out our plan to deal with the announcements of the government. So the Bakers Food and Allied Workers Union strongly condemns the UK government's latest assault on disabled people, which includes our members, through its cruel and dangerous £6 billion welfare cuts. These cuts, disguised as support, are nothing more than an attempt to force disabled people into work, regardless of whether it's safe, suitable or sustainable. This policy will push thousands into deeper poverty, worsen health inequalities and strip away the dignity and security that every single person deserves. The government claims that work is the best route out of poverty, yet its own statistics tell a different story, don't they? With 1.8 million people suffering from work-related ill health, record levels of workplace stress and tens of millions of working days lost to injury and illness, it is clear that many jobs are unsafe, unsustainable and actively harming workers. And rather than investing in safer workplaces, proper adjustments and stronger rights for disabled people, this government is instead cutting the vital support that allows them to survive and thrive. By removing the work capability assessment and weakening disability benefits, ministers are not helping disabled people into meaningful work. They are coercing them into unsuitable, insecure and exploitative employment. At the same time, the Health and Safety Executive has seen its enforcement powers eroded, allowing employers to get away with dangerous conditions that disproportionately harm disabled workers. The mental health crisis, and it is absolutely a crisis in workplaces, is already at catastrophic levels, with stress, depression and anxiety accounting for over half of all work-related ill health cases. And rather than addressing this crisis, the government is piling on more pressure, forcing people into jobs that will make their health worse, while removing the safety nets that exist to protect people. This government approach is not about empowering disabled people, shamefully. It is about cutting costs at the expense of the most vulnerable. The BFAW stands in absolute solidarity with disabled people who are being targeted by these cruel policies, and we demand that there is a real commitment to workplace safety through stronger enforcement of health and safety legislation and resourcing the HSE so that can happen, employer accountability for mental health and accessibility to ensure that disabled workers have the adjustments that they need, a secure and fair benefit system, not one that punishes for being unwell or disabled, and recognition that not everybody can work, and that is okay. People deserve to live with dignity, whether they are employment or not. Disabled people are not a burden. They are not statistics to be fixed for budget calculations. They are human beings who deserve respect, safety and support. We'll continue to fight alongside you and with you, and we call on the wider Labour movement to oppose these dangerous policies with all our strength. And from a view, I don't care what colour rosette our government wears. If they attack us, we push back. We shouldn't be afraid to demonstrate against a Labour or protest against a Labour government, or to tell them that they are wrong when they are clearly attacking us. So we should be here, we should be out, there should be millions more on this street, and we will be supporting you all the way. Solidarity.
Right, just going to introduce Sophia now, who's going to recite a poem.
Hi, I'm Sophia Cleanthus. I'm a trustee at Inclusion London. I'm appalled by the government's proposals. I'm upset. It's affected me. I've been homeless recently, and it's a thing that really needs to be said. The disabled people, all disabled people, need to be included. This poem is called What We Stand to Lose. Last week, I called the PIP support line. A panicked call, worried I'd lose my lifeline. She spoke softly and said, "Don't worry, dear, you're fine. You're really disabled." And this just stops those who lie. I asked how she knew PIP fraud, because it's negligible. She laughed, but her rhetoric was indefensible. Because then the poison spilled out. Scammers,
my first one in 4 weeks.
and then xenophobia to level it out. In the last week, the government defended cutting and capping benefits for those most in need. For families and disabled people, their hope pulled out like weeds. The final safety nets from assisted dying flew. Protection's gone for disabled people, homeless, and those with mental health too. They aren't even hiding their contempt for us anymore, left to bleed into poverty like an open sore. When asked, could you live on £70 a week? No, I have a mortgage. Do they even realise the cruelty with which they speak? It's good, it's moral, it's right, and good for the economy. Ah yes, more pressure on public services who are already cracking from underfunding. So now, under 22s, they obviously don't get sick. Get them into work, that will prevent all of this. Only the most severely disabled should apparently receive support. But if we aren't all included, it doesn't help anyone in our cause. Photos flying of women running one day and using a cane the next. Dynamically disabled people exist, and you shouldn't be so vexed. So what can you do as allies, friends, or simply those who are horrified? Write to your MP, check in with disabled people, rally our call, come protest so we are unified. Birthday came for disabled people, the poor and homeless. Please don't be silent or against us. Power comes from hope, and this is the bandage needed to prevent further cuts. Thank you.
Thanks, Sophia. Thank you. My name's Murad Gilly. I'm the chair of Homes for All. I just want to say something very quickly about Rachel Reeves and the Labour government. They're going to be announcing £2 billion investment for housing. Now they're going to be using this to deflect away from the absolute horrendous cuts, the benefit cuts, savage cuts that people are facing. And I think it's nothing. When you look in London alone, there are 183 individuals and families living, well, you wouldn't call it living, stuck in temporary accommodation. There's 336,000 people on the housing waiting list. And I'll just give you one example about what this Labour government's about. Rachel Reeves visited Stoke-on-Trent yesterday because the Housing Association were going to build 43 new homes. Can anybody guess how many council homes are going to be built out of those 43 units?
None.
Exactly, not one. They're going to be either for affordable housing, which we all know is 80% of mortgage rates, and the other are going to be right to buy. So I just want to introduce now an amazing campaign that's been taking place in Southwark. I want to introduce Tanya Marat, who's a member of Defence Council Housing and the newly formed SHAPE in Southwark.
Hello everyone, I just want you to look behind me because you can see that our campaign is called Southwark Housing and Planning Emergency, and our demands are stop overdevelopment, homes for people, not for profit, council housing, not luxury flats.
Yes.
But you'll also see that there's a banner above it, which is the Southwark Benefit Justice Campaign banner. And we created that at the time of the bedroom tax. Remember the bedroom tax campaign? Yeah. And we said at the time there should be no benefit cuts, no evictions, no bailiffs, and a fully funded welfare state. We stand by that now, and it saddens me that we have to be here today to stand against the Labour government that intends to do exactly what the Tories did and worse. Just 3 weeks ago, the SHAPE Coalition, Southwark Housing and Planning Emergency, sent a message to our council and to the government in a demonstration of 600 people through Peckham and Elephant and Castle. Our people will no longer accept the rule of developers. Developers like Berkeley Homes, who offered just 12% so-called affordable housing, a deep insult to the people of Peckham. Or developers like British Land, who threaten to drop their social rent offer to just 10% of their development. This is what happens when you have a government that puts profits before people. Giving developers the green light to make super profits in our communities will not solve the housing emergency. It will mean more social cleansing, more gentrification, more empty homes, more homeless people. We must not let that happen. The only way to solve the housing emergency is to build or acquire council housing. In this country there are 1 million empty homes. The government should requisition them or give councils the power to take them over and manage them on behalf of the people. There are more bedrooms than people in this country. Let that sink in. There are more bedrooms than people in this country. It's not that there's not enough housing. There is a crisis in the distribution of housing. We have to fight for a different kind of housing policy. We demand a mass programme of council housing funded by government. If they can afford to spend billions of pounds every year on weapons and war, if they can promise to increase their spending to NATO, they can afford council housing. We in SHAPE are calling for a united housing and planning movement. The planning changes just announced by the government will make the housing emergency worse, reduce the influence of local people and trash our environment. I'm finished. Groups like Campaign for the Protection of Rural England, Town and Country Planning Association, Community Planning Network are raising the alarm, calling for democratic planning that protects our environment. We need to have planning policy which would serve the people and tackle the climate emergency, not greed or developers' profits. This is the last thing I'm going to say. Thank you. We demand homes for people, not for profit. A revolution in housing and planning policy. We are in favour of council housing, not luxury homes for the rich. Fight against the benefit cuts. Fight for council housing. Fight for decent planning policy. We need a national campaign that fights for all these things. Thank you.
Next speaker is Eileen Conn. She's a Peckham resident and she works in housing and she wants to speak to you today.
It's fantastic to see so many people here. I just want to say one thing. 52 years ago I worked in the office right across the road, so it's really interesting to be outside here in this campaign now. I've been a community activist in Peckham, South East London for a very long time, and I've been involved in neighbourhood planning, and that's where I've come into this, because now we've got a massive development happening in Peckham Town Centre. We've staved off a lot of bad plans over the last 20 years in Peckham, demolishing buildings that could be reused, that we've actually managed to get reused instead of being demolished. Now the council's promoting a plan which would build 800 plus luxury housing and only 50, as you heard earlier, about social housing, which aren't even council housing. That's brought us into this campaign about the need to have not just a housing policy change in this country, but a planning change as well. It's essential that there's an emergency now, not just in national housing policy, but the national planning policy. And basically, the government is now relying and forcing local councils to depend on the commercial development world to build any houses. It's ludicrous to think that we can build more housing to meet people's needs when what's being built is more than 80% luxury flats, and that's what we're suffering in Peckham and everywhere. So what we're calling for is that people in housing campaigns get together with people in the neighbourhood planning campaigns that are not involved at the moment in housing campaigns, but the destruction of neighbourhoods is going on all over the country, all over London, to destroy neighbourhoods, to build more luxury housing in the pretense that it's actually building houses that people need. Commercial developers can't build houses that people actually need. They're building houses that people can't afford to live in. What's the point in all of that? We've got to get everybody across the country who's working on planning issues which are not involved in these council housing issues. We've got to work together. That's what I want to say. A call nationally and in London for all of us in planning to get together with everybody who's working on council housing as well.
Okay, next is Claire Glassman from Winvisible. Claire, please.
Hi everyone, it's really fantastic to see everyone here. Yes, we can. We can defeat this. There are actions happening all around the UK, from the north of Ireland, Scotland. In Glasgow, they're picketing the Ministry of Defence. No more deaths from benefit cuts and destitution. From asylum seeker mum Lillian Oluk and her baby Lynn Matumba, who died in Kent, to mum Philippa Day, Errol Graham and thousands more. Welfare, not warfare.
Welfare, not
We learned today it's going to be 6 billion cuts to disability benefits, not 5. Deep poverty on universal credit. But Rachel Reeves increases military spending, which already includes Trident nuclear submarines costing £59 billion. The RAF flies from Cyprus over Gaza, complicit in bombing children, women and even hospitals. Those MPs who are paid nearly £100,000 a year are complicit in starvation there and here from stop of benefit. No to the abolition of substantial risk to health protection for claimants, women survivors of abuse and many others. Carer benefits are tied to their disabled relative getting PIP, so cutting PIP threatens the whole household income and increases exhaustion, who save the government £162 billion a year. Most carers are women, including disabled women carers. Labour's insulting attack on disabled people, mothers and family carers, calling us economically inactive, threatens our survival. We defend everyone's right to benefits and support and financial recognition of our caring work and other contributions. Coping with disability and ill health is work in itself, whether or not we do wage work on top, and disabled women's pay gap is 35%. Let them fix that first. We demand abolition of no recourse to public funds, which denies benefits and health care to immigrant people, including sisters in our group. Already 160,000 children are poorer after their parents, mainly mothers in low-wage work, got cut off child tax credits in the forced move to universal credit. Abolish the 2-child limit to impoverishes children in larger families, which is also racist. Impoverishing mothers means more children in care. Welfare, not warfare. Invest in caring, not killing.
Thank you, Claire. Thank you for that incredible speech. The next person is Tony O'Sullivan. Austin Harney from TUC Disabled Workers. Austin.
Okay, I'm Austin Harney. I represent the PCS union on the TUC Disabled Workers Committee. And the first thing I want to say is how dare these Labour MPs who say they belong to a party that's called Democratic Socialist sit there in Parliament and vote to slash £5 billion of welfare, hitting the disabled. And I can tell you now, hitting the disabled, that is the most cowardly policy of any MP I have ever known, regardless which political party they come from. Wrong disgrace, what total dishonesty. It just makes me sick and it makes me very angry in my soul. Now I'm going to read out some shocking statistics. Although existing claimants, all right, that's right, 800,000 and 1.2 million people on personal independence payments would lose support of between £4,200 and £6,300 a year by 2029 to 2030, according to the Resolution Foundation think tank. All we ever hear from these MPs is the same old double-speak rubbish that you read in 1984, including Liz Kendall. She boasts and talks about we've increased £3 per week for universal credit. Really? What an insult to all us disabled people. We had far better benefits before this previous government abolished them all and merged them up into universal credit, which is far less. It is an absolute insult to hear that sort of rhetoric from a minister of that nature. I also want to point out that after 2026, there will be people losing, new claimants losing about £47 per week. So that means if you're sick, disabled, or not 22 years of age, you may not be entitled to incapacity benefits. This is an absolute outrage. I've just heard earlier today about taxing the rich. Well, let's bring in more, let's increase the corporation tax as well. And let's put all that money into reasonable adjustments for disabled people that work. Let's get them more jobs. Cutting their benefits is not going to get them into work. It's getting people more jobs with reasonable adjustments, more funding, more resources, who are going to be productive to the economy of this country. We cannot forget, more than 10 years ago, that a Labour government cut all the disabled jobs in Remploy. What an outrage. Shame on all you MPs in the Labour Party, and shame to all you MPs in other political parties. Now, I realise that I've got to wind up very soon, but I'll just conclude that I know what it's like to be sacked as a disabled person, diagnosed with autism at the age of 4, and there was no Disability Discrimination Act. There was no reasonable adjustments then. But it's just not enough that we have legislation. Let's get more trade unions out on strike to fight for disabled people's jobs. Let's get them into work. Let's do it now. Solidarity.
Thank you, Tony. The next speaker is Simone Aspis. She's from Free Our People, and she's going to talk to us about institutionalisation.
Okay, comrades, Simone Aspis, Inclusion London, Free Our People campaign. Free Our People campaign is a campaign that's led by people who learn difficulties. Free Our People campaign is a campaign that is led by people who learn difficulties and autistic people who are campaigning to get ourselves out of the psychiatric system and living in the community. The first and national campaign that is led by us and controlled by us. Bring People Home from Hospital network is a network of organisations and individuals who are campaigning very hard to get people out of hospitals, including people who got lived experience of being detained as we speak. We are now in a position where 2,000 people, our brothers and sisters, are detained are detained under the Mental Health Act. Why? Because they are autistic, because they have learning difficulties, because somewhere down the line, but how we think, how we behave, how we act is at risk to other people. This must stop right now. There are over 2,000 people that are detained as we speak. At the same time, we have a doubling of children and young people who are also going in the psychiatric system as a result of the savage cuts that have been happening the last decade and underneath this government as we speak. We are the only group of people that can be locked up and detained without trial. The mental health bill that this government have promised, that said taking people with learning difficulties and autistic people out of this hospital, out of Section 3, will do us good. It ain't going to do us good if the mental health bill starts from the wrong place, i.e. it retains the status quo, locking people up in hospital. Second thing is, this government said that they have got provisions in the bill that say that we'll have there will be provisions for local authorities and ICBs to provide the support that people need to live in the community. They will only do this if there is money permitted. 2030s at the earliest. We say no to warfare. Yes. What we say yes to is the support that people with learning difficulties and autistic people need to live in the community and to enjoy the same freedoms that everybody takes for granted. Bringing people home to hospital has 3 government asks. The first one is we want a powerful and meaningful say on how to keep us out of psychiatric hospitals. Our voice is important to having a good life. Second ask is our right to live decent lives in our communities. Laws need to be changed so they uphold disabled people's UNCRPD human rights to live in the community. And the last government ask we have is to be treated with respect and protected from abuse everywhere. Tougher legal action by the Care Quality Commission, including criminal prosecutions, is needed against service staff who harm us. So, put in your diary, April the 29th, right? Day of action by our community. There will be a rally at 11:30 just round the corner at Parliament Square, marching down to Department of Health and Social Care, where we'll deliver a letter to Barney Maron and Stephen Kinnock. Nothing about us without us. Free our people now!
Free our people now! Free our people now! Free our people now!
Okay, everyone, now to introduce Tony O'Sullivan from Keep Chest Public.
Thank you very much, and it's a real honour to be amongst so many incredible campaigners from so many different areas, and it gives us hope collectively that we will defeat this government. There's so many good things that have been said, and I just wanted to return to the issue of political choice. We heard the other day that in Wales they decided to end profit taking from the care homes for children and for foster care. And as a retired paediatrician, that was great for my heart to hear that. In Scotland, social care is substantially free. Not in this country. Last night, we heard Wes Streeting at a meeting at Conway Hall pleading that they've only been in power for 9 months, and could we cut them some slack? Any slack for Wes? Any slack for Rachel Reeves? We're horrified and totally disgusted at the choices this government is making. They were not voted in to continue to make this country the worst for child poverty in Europe in order to save less than £3 billion on the 2-child cap. They weren't voted in to attack pensioners' winter fuel payments that will mean that more pensioners die freezing from the cold. And they certainly weren't voted in to attack disabled people, to attack carers, and to attack people struggling with their mental health. To cut what we hear now is £6 billion. They weren't voted in to continue Theresa May's vicious, hostile environment and the racist abuse of migrants that goes with that. But that's what they're doing. They're choosing instead to rebuild our armed services, but not our public services. They're refusing to contemplate addressing the vast accumulation of wealth in the hands of a few, and to instead back the millions of people continuing and deepening poverty. We've heard that a 2% wealth tax on people having £10 million in their purses would raise £24 billion. That swamps all of those vicious cuts. They are making choices that are unacceptable. They should be choosing to invest for the future in our health, in our social care, and in our education. A healthy, well looked after, educated population is absolutely essential for a healthy population and a healthy economy. They are choosing instead to side with the right-wing press and those that feed right-wing theories of trickle-down. Keep our NHS public, and the organisation that we helped set up, End Social Care Disgrace. Stand with you all here in condemnation of the political choices that this government, this Labour government, has taken. The NHS is in crisis. You probably all know this, but 14,000 people are dying avoidably each year because of delays in emergency care. 14,000 real people. That is an emergency. On top of the crises in mental health, in maternity, in GP services and in dentistry. Wes Streeting said last night, cut us some slack, and we say no! If this is what they can do in 9 months, I dread to think what they will do over the next 4 years. But we together will not accept this. Our solidarity to everybody here, and carry on fighting.
Thank you, Dan. So I have to sit down now. Chronic illness, you know. Dan Edge, co-chair of the Equity Disabled Members Committee, is now going to speak.
Afternoon, everybody. My name is Dan Edge. I'm here representing Equity as an Equity Councillor and the Deaf and Disabled Members Committee, and I work as an actor, a pro wrestler, a model, an access coordinator, but most importantly for today, I am a product of the social security system. Without it, I wouldn't be where I am now. The hashtag for this protest is welfare, not warfare. But we all know we've got a fight on our hands with the people sat in there right now. And being a pro wrestler, there's one thing I love to do before I get into a fight, and that's stand on a microphone and talk about it. 9 months ago, We abolished the government that gave us human rights abuses when it came to disabled people. It was our X's in those boxes that helped that happen. We did that, remember that. But it seems this current government want to carry on the system as it is. They want to take away our security, they want to take away our support. I've been told to keep it brief, so I'm jumping through my speech a little bit. What you've got to realise right now is welfare spending, as much as they tell us on the news it's going to balloon, is at a 10-year low. They talk about how it's going to balloon, but what they're not talking about is the fact that the state pension age has been moved, so more people are claiming PIP for longer. They're not talking about the long mental health waiting lists that mean people are claiming PIP. All these kind of things can be addressed and be sorted and leave our support alone. Now what I will say, just because I've been told to keep this brief, is I have purposely not said the word benefits in this speech until now. Exactly that, sir. It's called social security for a reason, and when you rip the security out of the system, it's failed. They're not benefits. It's not something that's nice to have. It's not a bonus. It's something that gives disabled people some level of parity, some level of coexistence with our non-disabled family, friends and colleagues. And even then, it generally falls short. So I leave you with one more thing. At Equity, we have a saying, and I want all my neurodivergent, deaf, disabled friends and all our non-disabled allies to remember this. It's time to move from resilience to resistance. Resist these cuts. Contact your MP. Protest like you are today. Get your families involved. Get your friends involved. Get all the numbers we can, because we're not going anywhere fast. Disabled people were the group of people that told you to piss on pity, so we don't go anywhere without a fight. Solidarity to every single one of you.
Thank you, Dan. The next speaker is John McArdle from, Black Triangle. Apologies. Thank you.
So, the Black Triangle campaign began 15 years ago when the coalition government came into power. We're based in Edinburgh in Scotland. I've come down here today especially for this, to bring our solidarity. We have documented the deaths of hundreds and thousands of sick and or disabled people who have lost their lives under the former Tory regime. John Pring, the editor of Disability News Service, has published a book called The Department, How a Violent Government Bureaucracy Killed Hundreds and Hid the Evidence. We crowdfunded, some of you may have donated, we crowdfunded £7,500 to send a copy of that book to every member of Parliament. And we delivered it to Portcullis House with our comrades from Disabled People Against Cuts in September. So it's not as if the Labour Party and its members can say that they don't know the damage that has been done over those past 15 years. And to now go forward with cuts that even